Good morning, everybody. All right, so this is my first time using this Facebook feature where you bring on more than one person at the same time. But today you're going to meet one of our instructors, Brother Andre Long. He offers a few of our Whole Living Academy classes, our electives classes, PanAfrican History, Qigong for children, Kwanzaa, which is really a character building course for children, but they also learn so much history within that class. I sat in on it this morning and I learned some new things, even after being in a Black Studies program in college. I was like, oh, that's a new one for me. So really amazing classes. And we'll have Brother Long here in just a second. Just hold tight, everybody. And we're going to learn more about these electives classes. So while we're getting him in, I'll tell you a little bit about Whole Living Academy. We have a free self-paced program for homeschooled children where, they can access the system if they go to wholelivingacademy.com and you sign up with the free starter plan. Okay, wait. I think we have Andre here. Here we go. Or you can sign up for our live classes and get all of your core classes for only $225 a month. Now let's hear Brother Long. Here we go. Video now. It'll be just a second when it loads up. So everybody just hold tight. And so I'll tell you a little bit more about our classes. They're for kindergarten students through 8th grade students. We offer math, of course, science, English language arts. And here we have Brother Long to tell you about the electives courses. Just some of them, and we have others, but Brother Long offers 3 of them, which is the most offered by any instructor. Brother Long, can you tell us a little bit about Qigong, for example? What is that?
Well, Qi means the energy that your body uses to stay alive. When you go and get an EKG or whatever hooked up and you see the boop, 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 and they measure your energy. That's the Qi, the energy. And as long as you get a boop, 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 you stay alive. But when the energy goes boop, so so the Qi is that energy that keeps your body alive, and the Gong means to practice every day. So there's ancient practices to make sure that that energy that keeps you alive will keep you alive for as long as possible and healthy as much as possible. And Qigong is the ancient art of longevity in health in China.
So why is that important for children?
Well, especially American children, like America is known as like the sickest country. And so, and then especially African American children, Black people are the sickest people in the sickest country. So it's very possible for us to not be so sick and diseased. Um, One thing to do is to try to take everybody that's sick and teach them to be healthy. And a lot of people are not interested in that. And then it take a lot of work to be able to fix problems. So what we need to do is turn off the faucet and stop the children from being the next generation of the sickest people. So in order to stop the children from being the next generation of the sickest people, we need to teach them how to not get sick and how to keep themselves healthy. So it's important because if we can get one generation right, then we can change the generations to come.
That makes sense, being proactive
Right,
instead of being reactive, right?
right.
So can you tell us a little bit about the Kwanzaa class? Is that like teaching us about Kwanzaa? It's not December. What do they learn in the Kwanzaa class?
Well, understanding the history of African American people, there's 2 things that's very important. When you go and you fill out something, they ask you what's your race, what's your identity, and so there's all these different type of races you can be. And so Black people or African American are very unique and different from all the other people, specifically because of the story of how we traditionally got to America, and which was we lost our history and we lost our culture because of
Mm.
as a we lost that history and we lost that culture. History, understanding the world and how things are and unfold, and then culture is this understanding how we do things as a people, independent of the influence of other people. How we do things. So we lost those things, and nothing much has been instituted to help us get that back. So Kwanzaa is a tool to help us relearn our history and our culture, to understand how things in the world came to be, and also to understand how we can interact with each other. And so it gives us a framework for human interaction, so that as we interact with each other, we can understand an ancestral positive way to have a certain type of community. And Kwanzaa is the way we learn it. So it's celebrated at a certain time because it's a harvest festival. And you harvest at a certain time, but you got to be working on growing the food and planting the seeds and tilling the soil and stuff all year round, or else the harvest won't come. And so unfortunately,
Mm.
degenerated into just a holiday celebration, and it's been commercialized. So we have it as a holiday and we don't have it as a year-round thing like it needs to be.
That makes so much sense because you do have to grow the harvest throughout the year. In the same way, you're saying we need to be cultivating those principles of the
Right.
Nguzo Saba throughout the year, the unity, the self-determination, the cooperative economics, the collective work and responsibility, creativity, faith. Did I miss one?
You got to. But that's
I
it.
got them all.
Yeah, these are things for our daily lives and interactions with each other. And so that happens daily.
I think there's a metaphor in what you're saying too, because you're saying like with the African harvest celebration, basically, they were planting throughout the year to do the harvest at a certain point during the year. And it's like if we're cultivating these, character traits within ourselves during the year, then
Right.
there's a harvest that comes from that too. The harvest of how we interact with each other within our communities.
Right.
Would you say that's correct?
It's absolutely correct. It's absolutely, and it's important that we understand that process because that creates buy-in. Um, and that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly the right approach. And that's
That
why
makes so much sense.
I personally believe that Kwanzaa is the greatest thing that we have as a people that could help us to really reestablish our greatness as a people. It give us a framework for how to, right now, starting today, do that.
That makes so much sense. And we've definitely gotten away from those meanings when it comes to Kwanzaa as a people, as far as looking at it on a year-round basis. As a whole, a lot of people equate it as like a Black Christmas,
Right,
for
right.
example, rather than a
Yeah,
tool for character building and a tool for community building. And so it's
right.
beautiful that you're able to offer this to our children. Again, for those of you who are watching, you can visit wholelivingacademy.com, to sign up for the courses, the electives courses, and receive this instruction for your children from Brother Long. Or sign up for the free starter plan and stay posted if you're having trouble during the pandemic. then, we do provide scholarships for some of the electives courses. There are also certain days where you can join in for free. So just visit www.wholelivingacademy.com and join in, so that you can be a part of this, and your children can be a part of these classes. Can you tell us about the Pan African History class as well, Brother Long?
Yeah, so the Pan African History class is so in the ancient days, you had an education system for the people that got educated, but then you had a completely different education system for the royal family and the royal children. Because the royal children, the royal family, they don't just have to understand their history, they have to understand the history of all the nations that they'll be interacting with as they administer their kingdom. So the educational system that was given to the royal families everywhere is always different. And so what we're doing here is really a royal education where you learn to understand the history of the entire world, the different nations, the players. See, in community, in political things, you always have to know who are the players at the table. Because when you sit down at the table, you never know who's at the table. And so there could be somebody at the
Right.
table that could make a phone call or write a check and change everything that's going on. So you have to know the players at the table. So we're looking at world history, and we're going to be learning about all of the players at the table of world history. But we learn about it in terms of how Africans wound up contacting, interchanging, and influencing all these different people. So we have a Afrocentric, African-centered idea, but of the whole entire world. And so right now, we're having an overview because we really got almost 7,000 years of history that we can look at. So right now, we're kind of just
Yes.
taking a broad view of how it is we are able to know what we know. And so we're looking at a quick
Mm-hmm.
summary of different things that allowed us to today we can know certain things. We need to understand how is it that we can know these things. And then after we finish this overview, we're going to start back 4,777 BC, and we're going to work our way up for a long time. Okay, but it's the royal
Okay.
education for the royal family
A
to
royal
understand.
education.
Right, that's what it
Yes,
is.
and so again on the Pan African History class, over this past couple weeks, the students have been really excited to learn about some of that earlier history. I heard them learning about Amos, for example, and Hatshepsut, you know, and they were so excited. And, these are children who are 9, 10 years old, you know, excited about being able to put history in context. That was really beautiful to watch, really amazing.
Yeah, it definitely has to
Yeah.
be put in context. Yeah. So I'm very thankful to get the opportunity to share this information. You know what I'm saying? I want to share more. Do a couple more classes.
Well, I'm sure that the children would love that. I've received such great feedback about your classes so far. The children have been enjoying it so much. So it's just a blessing, to have you on board as an instructor. It really is to everybody. I heard you teaching this morning, and I was like, preach. I was thinking I would pop in and pop out, as I'm getting ready for my day on the administrative side. And I couldn't leave, because I was so engaged with the class. I heard you talking to the children about how y'all were, at first, y'all were talking about the Ethiopian history and about Ethiopia being one of the earliest Christian nations, and how because of that they didn't have exactly the same experiences with the Europeans as a lot of the other, African countries, African nations. And, then you all went into talking about, after you went more into the history about that, how, over time, Europeans have given us this idea, in terms of like separating African people over time from our history and especially our culture, given us the idea that, there's not anything worth getting from Africa. We see these images of poverty. We see these images of despair. We see these images of starving children, and so on television. And, you were saying like how when Europeans look at Africa, they see money, you know, and they have been seeing money for a long time. And you were asking the children, like, do y'all have your smartphones, your computers? And they were like, yeah, we have the Apple, the iPhones, XYZ. And you're like, okay, who received payment? Who received money when you bought those things? And they're like, well, it wasn't African people. And it's like, but where did the materials come from to actually build, these smartphones and these computers? Where did the coltan come from that went into these smartphones and computers? It came from Africa. And you were asking them, well, how is it that the materials for these products came from Africa, but the money is not going to African people? And how can we begin to address those things as a part of the diaspora in terms of us being able to have that collective work and responsibility, bringing it back to Kwanzaa, cooperative economics, and looking at ways that we can collaborate with our brothers and sisters on the continent so that we can be able to build wealth together from the materials that we have on the continent and all of even the human wealth that we have on the continent, the intellectual wealth, the spiritual wealth, and so on, us being able to collaborate in a healthy, synergistic way instead of, what's currently happening in terms of like an exploitative, way that the Europeans, and even the Chinese, at this point, navigate their relationships with African people. So I love it that the children have been learning about these things and that they're able to understand it, that they're able to synthesize the information and ask questions, even at such an early age. And I can't imagine, how powerful that they will be taking this information, in partnership with what they've been learning about health and financial literacy, about martial arts and so on, and taking that into adulthood and being able to use all of these tools in the real world to interact with each other and to interact with all of our brothers and sisters, across the African diaspora in a healthy and positive way.
Does it give us something to do for ourselves and our country, but it does automatically, if we can do something, it automatically give us a link to the global diaspora. So, I believe that what we're doing is the beginning of a big tidal wave.
Absolutely. And we're just so glad to have you, on as a teacher. So again, for everybody, please visit www.wholelivingacademy.com and sign up for the electives courses. We have some great electives offerings this semester. We also have core classes available for your children for learning at home. So, they can still receive quality instruction within small live groups, during this pandemic and beyond, right? Not just for the pandemic, but for life. And if you see the sweat on my face, I turned off the fan so that the noise is not in the background, but I am in Central America right now, so it's hot. And Brother Long is actually, where are you located, Brother Long? You want to tell them where you're
Um,
located?
I'm in Thailand. I'm in Krabi, Thailand on the
Yes,
sea.
you're there on the beach in
Right.
Thailand. I
My
think
house,
it's about 10 or 11 p.m. there now, right?
yes, it's about 11:20, and the my house is built on the sea like a pier. So right now, under the floor is the sea, and so when I lay down, I get to listen to the sea crash up against the shore all night.
And that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. And I mean, that even speaks to the diaspora in terms of us, both being African American from the United States. I'm in Belize right now. You're in Thailand right now. Another one of our teachers is in Dubai. Another one is moving to Tanzania next month. And, us spreading around the diaspora, but still making sure that we're providing quality education, to the Black children in the U.S., just speaking candidly. And I mean, anybody can get it. You can sign up from anywhere in the world and still be able to receive this education. But, we want to make sure that we're keeping these connections alive and,
Right.
that we're still providing education to our babies, to our youth, no matter where we're located in the world at any given point. So please visit www.wholelivingacademy.com. Sign up for the core classes, sign up for the electives, sign up for the free starter plan. Whatever you choose to do, just become a part of this because we would really love to have you. Brother Long, did you have any final words that you would like to share?
Um, I just want to encourage people to get involved. Check out a class and see. Not only children but parents too. It's
Absolutely.
some of the parents is more excited than the kids about the class, and the parents be
Oh,
right there.
yeah.
You know, in everybody. We the education is supposed to be like a three-legged stool. Okay, it's supposed to be the child, the teacher, and the parent. A two-legged stool can't stand. And so one of the biggest problems that we face is that our education, sometimes the parents is only at a parent meeting, if that, every now and then, and they're not an integral part of the education. But when we do the type of education that we're trying to do, it has to be a family unit. The family has to be able to support the development of the child. And if the parents aren't being educated alongside the child, they won't be able to fully support the child in their development. So parents, big brothers, cousins, aunties, grandmas, everybody needs this information. So that, because the reason it takes a village to raise a child is because everybody in the village got something to offer the child. And so we need to have this three-legged stool. We need the students, we need the teacher, but we also need the community. We need the parents, the aunties, sisters, brothers. So if you're interested in learning, get involved in the class and at least check it out.
Absolutely. And we definitely invite the parents, the cousins, the aunties, like you said, the uncles, you can all definitely participate with our classes. So we look forward to having you. I love what you said about the three-legged stool. Again, that's something that, we've often gotten away from with education. And it's something that we need to bring back, get back on our history, get back on our culture, and make sure that we're building from that, to keep a certain level of continuity from those who have come before us who lit so many torches, being able to carry those torches forward to benefit
Right.
our people. The torches that were lit by, Brother El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, Malcolm X, the torches that were lit by Marcus Garvey, the torches that were lit by Fannie Lou Hamer. I was listening to Fannie Lou Hamer on YouTube singing Go Tell It on the Mountain, and she's a beautiful singer. But in addition to helping our people to get out there and to vote, Sister Fannie Lou Hamer also had a farming cooperative. And that was something that I just found out recently. And she was best known for her singing and how she would inspire people with her singing. And so those who have come before us had so much to offer. You look at somebody like Booker T. Washington that really helped set the foundation for the American education system in terms of providing free public education to people across the nation, and started over 3,000 schools in the South, during a time where there was no social media, and fundraising had to be doing with baking pies and doing fish fries and so on, right? But he also had a farming movement where, he was helping at that time they called it the Negro Farmers Conference, and helping us to be able to not only benefit from agriculture in terms of the healthy food that we're eating, but also in terms of the money that was coming in from agriculture to our people and getting away from that sharecropping system. So you look at our people historically, and there's so much that we have done that's just been across the board, not just one thing, not just, starting one type of businesses just to benefit ourselves on an individual level, but starting movements and institutions that can benefit our people on a national and on a global level. So we have to get back to that. We have to get back to understanding generational wealth as not only money, but the generational wealth of culture that we're passing down. Because if you go, we train our children to go buy a house, and go to college, and now you got 60K, you got 100K per year, you made it. But is that generational wealth, or is generational wealth actually passing down knowledge, culture, so that our children can take it forward 7 more generations? Building institutions that can carry our culture. So, that's what this is all about, is bringing those energies back through Whole Living Academy, so that, not only are we just teaching the children, oh, you know how to count, you know how to do the reading, writing, and arithmetic, so to say, but actually being able to carry our culture, carry our traditions, carry our practices, carry the things that can benefit us moving forward for the next few thousands of years, right? And being infused with those things so that they can then pass it down to their great grandchildren.
Check.
Yes, Ashe. Thank you. And thank you so much, Brother Long, for joining us and for sharing the information about your classes. And I'll see you tomorrow for Pan-African History, tomorrow
Okay.
morning at 9:30 a.m. Central. If you all would like to join, just go ahead, visit wholelivingacademy.com, and I'll make sure to send you the link. Good night, Brother Long.
Night.